welcome to the Beyond Cinema studio up here, Rebecca, Barry. Firstly, congratulations on having the film here.
Thank you.
Rebecca, I know obviously you had The Other Side of Sleep at Cannes a few years ago. Having these kind of festivals like Cannes and Sundance, there's such massive brands that can really help push a film. Did you find after kind of getting the Cannes kind of stamp on the other film that just really opened it up to a whole lot of opportunities, and similarly that this will have the same sort of benefit?
I mean, yeah, I suppose we don't kind of know what's going to happen yet with this one. You know, it was premiered yesterday, but I mean, so far the response seems good, and you know, it's Sundance, so yeah, of course it definitely helps. And the same was the case with Cannes, with The Other Side of Sleep. I think you know, it was a perfect platform for that film. It's a very art house kind of style, and you know, Cannes was definitely the right spot for it, and I think people could you know, access it very well through that festival.
Yeah, I loved Barry, you in this film. Like, there's an element of danger about you, but also this like immense volatility, and so it made me kind of think about what the title of the film means.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, I remember there was a film here a couple of years ago called Hyena, and it had nothing to do with the film. And I was at Toronto, and we were talking about what it meant, and I always find that really interesting. And it's such a distinct word. So, what do you guys talk about that? Like, what the title of the film means? Or do you each have a different kind of answer for that?
I mean, Mammal was like, it's...
Well, for me, it's because, you know, that very particular relationship between a mammal and her young, you know, and they feed them with milk and so on, and also that, you know, we are all mammals, you know, and I suppose to tap into that kind of almost animalistic sensuality, and, you know, birth and reproduction and all those things being kind of tied into each other. But it is true that, you know, Barry's character is kind of like this wild animal, you know, and Margaret has been taking in stray cats, and then
fox,
she takes in a stray boy.
You know, you can't keep a fox caged, and he is like, he can be just gone like that in a second. And the danger sides that you're talking about there, yeah, he's a street kid, you know, that's run away from his mommy. So when he does get took in by Margaret, he has this front about him that, you know, he thinks he's older than he is, I'm a man, but then when he's actually broken down, he's just a kid. He misses his mother, like, so he actually does. I think he does like being mammied, but still wants it. There's a sexual thing to it then, and he wants to push a few buttons and see where it goes.
Do you have these conversations like on set, pre-set, or is it more relying on the instinct of each of these kind of actors that you bring into the picture?
Oh no, we did talk about it a lot. Like, we spent a week and a half together in a room, me and Barry and Rachel, and we talked through everything. We didn't really rehearse that much as such, so it was more discussion, knowing kind of what stages the relationship was developing at, really marking that out. And even on the set, you know, we would sometimes do variations on things, that sometimes he would be playing sort of the sexual agenda of a line, and then we would do another take where he didn't, where it was much more innocent, and we would kind of move back and forth, because, you know, Jo's character is in a way pushing the sexual agenda in the film the most. I mean, she's definitely engaging with it, but I wanted to be able to experiment in the edit with exactly how that unfolded.
Yeah, we rehearsal wise, we didn't rehearse a lot. Rebecca and Rachel wanted to keep the fresh element to it, you know, which was good, because we get to know each other at the start of the film, and that's the way it was, and I think that showed on screen as well. But yeah, we had a lot of talk, like. I done some character work with the lads who were in the gang. They're not actors apart from one, the main gang member. So we'd run in like, I'm from the city centre, so we'd run into town, and we'd run in our shops, gallivanting and messing about, you know, getting up to mischief, and then I as well, I got me granny, I said this already, I got me granny to fill out this diary of random questions, and I just answered them as Joe, and then when I showed up on set, I just threw everything away, and I kind of had a second nature of what he's about, and I mean, he's close to myself as well, so.
That's cool. And so you live in Dublin?
Yeah, Dublin,
So, like, I don't know, like, does that bring a different quality to it when you're working at home in places that you're familiar with?
Yeah, well, we shot this in Luxembourg for like.
Well, half in Luxembourg and half in Dublin, but it was all set in Dublin. So.
Yeah, but yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, it does. It brings a. It makes it comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
There's like a lot of filmmakers working in Ireland at the moment, and it's kind of funny. It's like some of them always say, "Oh, well, we had to wait for so and so to be done with Game of Thrones," you know, because it's been shooting all over the country and taking people. And of course, Michael McElhatton.
Yes.
And I know he's had a couple of films over the last couple of years where he's always kind of popping out of that role, and Aidan Gillen and people like that are like working on Irish productions at the same time, but they're getting to stay in their native country as well, the Conleth Hill as well. And so it must be kind of super empowering knowing that there's such a hive of activity happening in Ireland. What's that feel like? What's that like, that sensation?
For Barry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's growing. Like Irish films are becoming huge and really exciting times at the minute.
But your last film was not an Irish production.
Yeah, I mean I've not really worked on a lot of Mammal was like, and I mean 71 was an English film, and then recently I've worked on an English film as well where I play an English lad. So I'm kind of trying to get away from Dublin, like not because it's not the place to be, but I want to show me range, you know. I want to play different people, and not always so close to home, like, but keep that close to home in the performance and the rawness and the humble.
Rebecca, having to balance kind of like Luxembourg, I know the Netherlands were involved in the funding of the film as well, and the Irish Film Board, and so you've got all these different entities. Is that just the nature of the beast of trying to get a project together, or did you choose Luxembourg for a specific reason other than that?
No, I mean in this case I think it was mainly to do with the producers having a good relationship with the producers in Luxembourg and having worked together before, so there's a shorthand there. But I mean if you want to finance a film in Europe at any kind of budget level, really co-production is the way that it's done, you know, and most of the money is public finance rather than private, so it's quite different than the States in that way.
Did you find everything you needed in Luxembourg,
Yeah. I mean, we shot mainly interiors there, and a couple of specific locations that worked very well and I think passed very well for Dublin, and the crew was fantastic that we got from there, and
they were.
We also had some great Dutch crew. I mean, it's an interesting thing because the co-production sort of system, you know, insists that you use people and locations and so on from other countries, but actually often it's a very happy situation and works together very well and brings a certain something to the project that it wouldn't necessarily have if it was totally Irish, you know. So.
Yeah, and having like this film where everyone's seeking a connection somehow, but often through intimacy. Having kind of Rachel come on board, at what point did you meet her? Like, where did you meet her? Was it just like a Skype conversation and an offer made to an agent, or did you get together in a cafe somewhere and map it out?
Well, we did. We offered it to Rachel, and I mean, I watched everything she's been in, you know. And because she hasn't played this kind of character really before, so I kind of, she's a fabulous actress, fantastically talented actress, so I knew she could do it, but, I just kind of wanted to be sure, because obviously you don't audition Rachel Griffith, so, and then we offered it to her, and then I met her in LA for a few days, and we went through the whole script, the two of us, and, had big chats and got to know each other a bit, went grocery shopping together, all of that. And I suppose at that point, if it hadn't worked out between us, maybe one of us could have edged out of it. But, luckily it did. So. Yeah,
very cool. And a final question, just because the film is also so visual, it relies a lot on just the image of the music, which is pretty haunting, by the way. I thought the score was pretty impressive. But if you could take an image to put on your wall as a kind of souvenir of the production that kind of represented the film to you, what still would you take from the film?
One of Joe in the shower.
Yeah, Joe in the shower. It's
That's
a good shot.
Wall.
You could have yourself with a shower on your wall.
She's suggesting that for Rebecca as well.
I suppose interesting. Maybe the image actually that we're using for the poster, where Margaret's holding Joe and his back is cut and you can't see his face. So, you know, she's holding Joe, but she's holding her son, you know, and I think that image in a way encapsulates the whole film, you know.
Barry, do you have a favourite visual?
I think
Him in the shower.
so my second favourite, I think the one when she's swimming underwater, you know, because that's where she's most comfortable in the water and stuff. Yeah, so.
Yeah. No, that opening visual is beautiful.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thanks for taking a few minutes.
Great, thank you.
Congratulations on being here.
Thank you.